Did you experience bullying during your time on Married to Medicine?
I did, yeah.
In what
Yeah.
ways?
Huh?
I say, in what ways do you care to share?
Okay, so I will say this. When I agreed to do Married to Medicine, it was probably the worst time to do it or to agree to do it because
Mhm.
my mom had just passed. I was so I got engaged 3 days before my mom passed away. So it was like I got engaged, which was like the
Oh.
happiest day, and then my mom passed away literally 3 days later. And then shortly after that was like Married to Medicine. So I feel like I was just like a vessel floating in the world. Like
Yeah.
I didn't even know what life was anymore. I'm still honestly picking up the pieces. It was just like a lot at once. And I think I was grabbing for straws. But anyway, so when I started, this is a little tea, I was supposed to be full time.
I mean, I knew that too from behind the scenes, but go ahead and tell us more about it since we're here.
I signed up as full time. Okay. And I'm not used to the TV world where things are like on a whim and they're like, hey, so tomorrow we're going to be filming this. And it's like, wait, I got plans. Like, oh, you know what I mean? So I had to go to Ghana with my family for my mom's funeral. And so I missed I filmed like twice before I went to Ghana. And then I missed like 2 weeks, which is a lot of filming, which is like a lot of filming. And then when I came back, it was like, okay, now we're in the girls trip. So we're basically like halfway through the season at that point. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot. But in Ghana, they like had me doing video diaries, all these things that weren't shown. So it's
just like the first time I met you, which was at Dr. Heaven University, that unfortunately was not shown either.
yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's okay. I mean, it's TV.
I feel like I wasn't properly introduced. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have the opportunity to. And so okay, so back to the bullying thing. So when I go on the girls trip, that was my second time being around everybody, but it was like a closed setting, right? Because it's just us.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember the first thing we did when we got to Vegas was we were in the in the limo, like talking and stuff. And I was saying, oh yeah, I just had my, bachelorette party here. I was so happy my sister threw it for me. Cause again, my sister and I are like drained of capacity. So I was so happy, you know, and grateful for her to do that. And she paid for it. My sister's a doctor too. Yeah. She's an internal medicine doctor.
Oh, love that.
Yeah. And so I was talking about it and they were like, oh, where did you stay? And I told where we stayed. And then later I heard that it was like Toya and somebody else were like, oh, why did she stay there? And it's like, what? Like, so now I'm a little on guard. Okay. So then we go to the first dinner in Vegas where we're like, brunch, sitting and talking. And we were playing like a drinking game. And it was fun. And Jackie had told me before the flight that she doesn't drink because she had cancer and it's like bad to drink whatever. And I was like, oh, wow. And I took heed to that. My mom passed from cancer. So I was like, wow. And so when we were at the table playing the drinking game, she was like, oh, I don't want to drink. And Toya was like, you need to drink, Jackie. Why don't you drink? Da, da, da. And I said, oh, she doesn't need to drink. Like it's not a big deal. We could still just play the game. And she was like, excuse me, you're not a good lawyer. And I was like, excuse me, like what? Like, what are you even talking about? You know what I mean?
This is like, she just said it out of nowhere.
She said it out of nowhere. I never even told you I'm a lawyer. You don't know what type of law I practice. I'm not a litigator. And we're not talking about law. I was just saying she doesn't have to drink if she doesn't want to.
Was she playing? Was she being serious?
She was being, it's not funny to me. And I just met you 2 seconds ago.
Right. Okay,
like and being like, you're not creative. You'd be like, it was a very weird and jarring comment. And again, on the heels of, oh, why did she stay at that hotel? It's just weird because I'm just getting to know you guys. And like, I've always been able to like thrive in social settings. Like I grew up around all white people, so I'm like proficient in Caucasian. I went to college. I went to college, I was around so many different, so it's just kind of like, I've never experienced like, just like, yo, you're not a good lawyer. Why you stay at that hotel? Why you do? It's like weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Weirdo. It's giving weirdo. So, then after that, I addressed it at dinner and I was like, well, apparently I'm not a good lawyer, so what are you, and, she was mad about that. And then the rest of the trip, she just kept saying, Esquire, in this like, sarcastic tone.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just in Vegas for a good time. I'm off the heels of a funeral. Y'all didn't even ask me, like, hey, how are you? What's going on with your life? You have no idea what I'm dealing with in life. And then you're coming for me for that. And then it was like, why is she wearing these clothes? Like, why is she wearing, I had like a little champion suit, which, by the way, you could buy at Nordstrom, okay? I was not going to, South DeKalb Mall and go, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And as long as it is cute, I'm gonna buy it. Like, I'm not a label whore whatsoever.
I'm the same way.
You know what I mean? And like, my body is on point. Anything I put on,
I'm like,
gonna look cute. It's gonna be cute.
I just love you. Y'all watching me and Audra really could have went to high school together, and she's just my type of girl. She's just my type of black girl.
And I've never had anybody say that. And again, the way I grew up, I grew up, in a beautiful home, the 6-bedroom house, like, I've always had the things that I needed. My parents, I'm Ghanaian, so I'm first generation. My whole family's from Ghana. And I definitely grew up in like an immigrant household where you're taught just like what to value, like people, good people, hearts, like experiences. It was never about like labels and things, so it was just weird. So then as the season went, there were just so many times, specifically with Toya, where we would clash for no reason. And I never prompted it. It was like, I had my bachelorette party on the show. It didn't show though. And when I walked in, I was given these crowns where I had to give everybody like a label. And I think I gave her the label of like petty queen or something. And she called me a bitch. And I'm like, girl, you at my bachelorette party. Like, again, it's like, it's just weird behavior. You know what I mean? So, we were like 2 weeks from my wedding. We go to Quad's holiday party. We've had so many run-ins at this point with me and Toya and just nonsense in my head. And my cup had nothing in it. My cup had dust in it. I had no patience. I was not for the nonsense. And so when I go there, I'm like, I'm just trying to get through this because I'm looking for my wedding, like looking forward to my wedding. And I get there and it's again poking at me. And I'm like, I can't take this. If we're going to talk about money and we're going to talk about investments and wallets and what you're wearing, like, let's talk about it then. And so it appeared on the show as if I just like sat up and said this randomly, but that was a 6-hour, I think, filming. And it was like hours of just that wasn't shown. And so then I got up and I said what I needed to say and I was done with it. But then when I was leaving, and I was in the kitchen, she said something, and that bitch talking about me. And again, I'm like, and so I just turned around and what happened.
Yeah. And it happened.
And it happened.
Thank you so much for that exposition. Oh my God. We're gonna get into Toya a little bit more later.